My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only, and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Just so you can hear that plane activity. This is stalking, and this is the U.S. military that's engaged in 24-hour criminal surveillance. That is a hovering plane. And then you're going to recall what Fabiola is asking me of the San Bernardino County TAD office, questions that they know the answer to while the government, and she is also the government that is monitoring me, in concert with the people of the state who know my personal information, who know exactly who I am, who are stalking. And they're doing that while the Ontario International Airport is not taking off while I'm at 1627 East Holt, nor are they taking off northwest of that location at the Ontario Town Square. Moreover, at what is 12:30 in the morning, there's no flights departing from the Ontario International Airport right now, and no flights departing from that airport are both taking off at the 1627 East Holt, right across the street from there, and then continuing from the same airport, maintaining a hovering flight like this, like you're taking off. You hear that plane activity? This is no change in elevation where you taking off from the airport. This is the entity that's stalking. That's why I'm breaking all that down. This is the entity that's providing evidence. Not only is the entity engaged in what is absolutely mentally ill, the U.S. government has provided what is the framework for prosecuting it, subjecting it to martial law, to removing them from the positions that they have maintained in order to maintain criminal surveillance to engage in terrorism in the U.S. They're stalking at the traffic lights. That's not traffic at 12 where the entity's stalking by airport, by commercial airline companies. Alan D. Wapner knows what's going on with regard to the ongoing targeting. Paul Leon knows what's going on with regard to the ongoing targeting by planes and by helicopters, and also is aware of the impropriety of that. Okay, this is more than a public nuisance. This is blatant covert. This is blatant overt ongoing targeting conduct that Paul Leon and Alan D. Wapner are engaging in. Okay, that's why it's ongoing. Okay, this is the U.S. military that is acting via the city of Ontario, and the city of Ontario is going to be subject to martial law. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:31 a.m. The entity is also, again, monitoring. So this is exceeding stalking. Very clear stalking. All you have to do is document a stalker, and therein lies the evidence. Oh, you see that, and you see that. Oh, now you can see they're stalking. They're exceeding stalking. This is exceeding stalking. You only need to engage in what is following me here. They're doing more than that. They don't need to touch me with impossible light if they were just stalking. These are demons. They're mentally ill while they engage in demonic behaviors such as stalking me with light and repeatedly crossing my path, making sure that nothing changes. And anytime the most subtle thing changes, anytime I think something, you're crossing my path, including in the sky space. These are the mentally ill that are monitoring. Monitoring is mentally ill behavior. It's the conduct of those that are effectively disease-infected animals. That's what the entity, the U.S. military, the people of the state of California is riddled with, infested with. Okay, and there is no respect of person. I mean, every politician, every celebrity, every single last one of them. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:32 a.m. P.O.C. Stalking by the U.S. military in concert with the people of the state. This is the conspiracy to murder by the U.S. government in concert with the city of Ontario that is gang stalking at this hour. And as I captured at approximately 12, the entity flying west where there's no destination you're headed to, hovering just in the center of the Ontario Town Square, miles away from the airport. You're not headed toward a destination either. And the entity's engaged in what is stalking using commercial planes, monitoring my physical movement, and all the traffic that you have at this hour is the people of the state engaging in that conspiracy as well, stalking. And they're engaging in stalking in public, on the roads and the highways, pursuant to monitoring. And this is the role of the people of the state. This is the purpose. This is the intent. And this is relevant to what is the actual significance of this country and what's going on in this country. And it's 24-hour criminal monitoring by demons. This is P.O.C. These are stalkers.
P.O.C. It's currently 4:51 a.m.
Stalking. And that's the U.S. military engaging in those maneuvers and trying to duck and dodge camera while they're engaging in all manner of stalking in the same exact manner at all hours of the day, where it's not more incriminating that you're stalking at 12 o'clock in the afternoon over the Ontario town square and doing cartwheels and planes. But it is relevant that it's 5:27 a.m. The entity's amplifying plane activity and doing a cartwheel while they're monitoring my movement, meaning a stalker that knows that I'm reaching for my phone. Oh, let me do a flip and fly the opposite direction, which is relevant positioning. P.O.C. And that was Securitas. That's in the relevant positioning walking in the path. And the entity's maintaining this is light activity. This is P.O.C. and it's demonic. It's not a malfunction. P.O.C. This is criminal monitoring. It comes with the people who are stalking on the roads and the highways. P.O.C. 5:28 a.m. The entity maintaining a Delta Airlines flight at Euclid Avenue and I Street. Okay, from the same airport, the entity has planes that are taking off. That's what Southwest Airlines and UPS are mimicking at on Holt Boulevard. This is Euclid Avenue, which they're engaging in that, which is stalking, being as close to me as possible. Stalking. 6EWY 202. Co-conspirators of murder, knowing about documentation. Okay, and this is how I documented the feds gang stalking me in unmarked SUVs. The feds that are stalking in commercial airline planes, where there are no flights that are occurring over this sky space. That's letting you know that the people of the state are stalking, and so is the engineer light. That's not sunlight. And you also know that because this intersection at I Street and Euclid is where Amazon is gang stalking, while Amazon is engaging in what is holding a package, that's a demon with a proc, in the evening under the same exact sun. It is the P.O.C. and after 6 p.m., it's currently 6 to 12 hours later, Amazon Prime is ignorantly in this environment that's supernatural. No, not only that, Amazon Prime is literally a demon, a demonic company is operating those vehicles, molesting me with light. They are intentionally, knowingly doing so in concert with the people of the state who are intentionally, knowingly stalking with the U.S. military that's stalking on the roads and the highways with no license plates under the fake sun in concert with the people who live in that environment. This is the P.O.C. This is the same block where you see Amazon Prime parked in the wrong direction, stalking me in a commercial vehicle, which is the prosecution of Delta Airlines, Southwest Airlines, UPS, Amazon Prime, etc., that are engaging in the conspiracy to murder. And they're going to be prosecuted for treason. Okay, ghetto companies like Southwest Airlines, they're so lacking in professionalism and lacking in serious maintenance of a business because they're engaged in criminal monitoring. That's why. And Southwest Airlines, amongst many other companies, are not even going to exist, especially when I am done exhausting them. Okay, this is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:08 a.m. This is I Street. I as an igloo, where the gang stalkers that are giving food to the homeless are hitting on me. They're hitting me. They're battering me. They're demons. That's why. Because they're demons. It's the same harassing spirit that is stalking me. P.O.C. It is currently 6:09 a.m. This is the people of the state being federally prosecuted. Those idiots, those ignoramuses, have provided the evidence against the domestic terrorists who are the people of the state. The entire city of Ontario, and they're going to be on lockdown for the protection of the American people. P.O.C. License 7EQE754, 9LXD077. This is impunity. 80644 Kelly 1, that's a male, stalking while the entity's engaging in the same cartwheels that they're doing at the Ontario Town Square, like they're doing while I'm at the 1627 East Holt Boulevard County building, okay? Well, they're engaging in nothing other than stalking. All right, being in my path, maintaining presence, that's the significance of the engineer light. They are all, you don't have to ever come out. I will prosecute you where you live at 118 and 116 I Street in Ontario, California, by virtue of this evidence, and you also don't have a defense. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 6:10 a.m. under the fake sun. All right, this is documentation showing you the fake sun. This is at 6:42 a.m. at 8th Street, the number 8th Street, where the U.S. military is stalking me by helicopter at this intersection. The U.S. military is stalking with the city of Upland, engaging in criminal summoning at this intersection in the evening, and this fake sun is still here. The people of the state, including 9, Bob, Cherry, David, 808, are molesting with impossible light while they're stalking on the roads and the highways. This is the entity that's maintaining the criminal pattern of conduct, the conspiracy to murder from Ontario into Upland, and they're engaging in that together as one. 51897 Mary 3, 8 Charlie Frank Nancy 340, 6 Nancy Paul Robert 920, 6 Zebra 66354. This is what I'm stating with regard to the prosecution of an entire population. It is perfectly capable. It's absolutely what is the case also when you have a supernatural phenomenon occurring amongst the population. It would never happen one time, and it's happening while the demons are on the street under a fake sun that's still here 12 hours later. This is the entity that is gang stalking, and this is the prosecution. The same entity that's stalking me by helicopter at the Upland Public Library is stalking through the people of the state on the roads and the highways. And this is where they commit murder. They don't have car accidents in a specific environment. The people of the state are going to be federally prosecuted as they are engaged in treason. 62238 Kelly 4, Stanley Pesticide, Stanley Pest Control. They're a bunch of demons. They're demonic pests. They're stalkers, and so is that company. License 9 David Yolanda Henry 123. They're all under this fake sun that is still here while Bird Tech is stalking with light activity. Demonic, and I'm going to prosecute that ghetto business that cannot even empty the trash. I'm going to empty them as trash while they're prosecuting. I'm prosecuting them. They're stalking me in Fontana. They're stalking me while I am in Upland, California, and they're engaged in the pattern of conduct as they monitor my evidence. And while you're engaged in what is enticing you as demons to target me as I document you, you're going to wind up in prison. Okay, this is the P.O.C. though. This is Bird Tech that's gang stalking while I'm at the Fontana Lewis Library. And while they're emptying the garbage, it's creating an earthquake on the desk inside of the Fontana Lewis Library. The Fontana Lewis Library that has the fake sun from morning until evening. No provision for it to be in Upland, California. But you already know it's the P.O.C. throughout the state because no venue, no city is going to have the sun both setting and rising, let alone over the Fontana Lewis Library where Bird Tech is gang stalking with these psychopaths, these vagina monitors that stalk you with light. This is the U.S. military's mental illness while the people of the state practice the pattern of conduct. It's the identical pattern of conduct. That's how you know that mental illness is what is the issue that's a threat to the public regarding Marcelo Blanco, regarding Mike LORENZ, regarding the U.S. military, regarding the entire population, the people of the state. This is the entity that's engaging in what is mentally ill behavior, okay? 8 Apple, Yolanda, Bob, 876. And they're stalking right here while I'm walking up and down the street. They are all stalkers and they all know who I am. While Impossible Light shooting on toward the sidewalk, while you're driving your vehicle, they're targeting. This is P.O.C. And the people of the state are going to be prosecuted as the population of terrorists that they are, stalkers, P.O.C. And that's what's engaging in what is harassing. While I'm documenting you stalking me, they're going to prison. Everything, this population, everything that they're engaging in while I document them, they're going to prison for it. P.O.C. It is currently 6:46 a.m. Currently 9:29 a.m. So yesterday when the U.S. military, that is Marcelo Blanco, it's all of the entity. It includes the demons of San Bernardino County Fire who are in alignment with where I'm located right now. They are stalking in the path. They are engaged in surveillance because this is the fake sun. This is not the sun. But at 9:34 a.m. yesterday, the fake sun was merely covered up. Okay? And at this time, 48 hours ago, the fake sun is over me in Ontario, California. And yesterday evening, the fake sun is still here in Upland, California. This is the Upland Public Library, 450 North Euclid Avenue. And this is the Upland City Hall. City of Upland maintaining criminal surveillance, okay? That's a municipality that's gang stalking in concert with the people of the state. This is where the U.S. military is maintaining ongoing flight, amplifying plane activity, engaging in what is gang stalking, terrorism, doing so at what is also speaking to the fact that they are not honorable, they're not noble, they are engaging in the United States, even at veterans' monuments that's supposed to be honoring them, and they're simultaneously engaging in terrorism, and they're demons. While you're looking at U.S. Navy, U.S. Marines, U.S. Army, the U.S. military is the one that's gang stalking me right now under a fake sun, in concert with the people of the state, not protecting the American people, attacking American citizens in concert with the people of the state, constituents of the government, engaging in public corruption, betraying the United States and its purpose. And what you see now at, look, 406 North Euclid Avenue, you see the people of the state gang stalking. They're walking in that building where you saw impossible light flat on the floor inside. There's no sunlight. There is no sunlight that's ever going to appear on the inside. It's not going to appear underneath that covering. It's not going to appear on the inside flat on the floor. That's speaking to a corrupt venue that's engaging in the demonic conduct of criminal surveillance, which the U.S. military is maintaining, including right here and right now. And I'll remind you about what's happening at this same location when I'm walking outside of these same doors at what is closing time. Recall this. This is terrorism.
Helicopter activity by the same U.S. military and Marcelo Blanco, the Upland Police Department, the city of Upland, are being prosecuted for it. It's occurring at 6:40 p.m. while I am in the midst of putting together the podcast, speaking to the entity that engaged in harassment on behalf of the psychopaths that are stalking by helicopter with regard to this is supposed to be retaliation in the mind of a psychopath that's a violent sex offender that's going to prison, that's going to be prosecuted as an enemy of the United States. Nonetheless, this is the entity that's engaging it, and I'm documenting it. Alyssa, Adam, Tucker, Kiki, Joy, the employees that include Carissa, they are all going to federal prison. The entity's gang stalking with the library full of third parties who are monitoring, and they're engaged in what is stalking inside of a building. This is the mentally ill population that helicopter activity is sounding at 6:40 p.m. Pursuant to monitoring on my device, the same pattern of conduct, the same Title 18 federal stalking behavior as exhibited by those that include the Fontana Police Department, the U.S. military's pattern of conduct, the Ontario Police Department, the U.S. military's same criminal pattern of conduct. And this is where I'm showing you the fake sun that's over the same building roof as I captured in images for your viewing ability after 5 p.m. Okay, this is the people of the state that are sharing in mental illness and are sharing in terrorism with the demons that stalked me in helicopter.
This is the environment that I'm subject to as I walk out yesterday evening at 6:56 p.m. Okay, this is the fake sun that you are seeing right now. That is over me here. This is the door that I'm walking out, and at 6:56 over this, as I'm walking out, this is speaking to, again, what's impossible. But that impossibility is where you are aware that the U.S. military are filled with homosexual, satanic followers who are engaging in criminal surveillance, and they're corrupt doing so with the people of the state. They're treasonous stalkers, okay? And they're doing so while a fake sun is here, okay, hours from now. And that's letting you know the significance of everything they're doing on the roads and the highways, the homes that are positioned on this street, the entity that's maintaining what you saw yesterday, 9:34 a.m., helicopter activity over me. Where covering up the fake sun doesn't change the criminal purpose. It doesn't change the P.O.C. It doesn't change the identified entity. This is the entity that's monitoring evidence. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct, and there is no environment where in the natural environment, that is, where you would have that ongoing coexisting. So let's look. This is the time right now at 9:34 a.m. where the entity was stalking by helicopter yesterday. And this is the environment as I'm exiting yesterday at the same location where I stand right now at 9:35 in the morning. Okay, this is impossible to be the case. This is identifying those that are sharing and stalking in the path. They're in my path right now, monitoring. All right, this is the entity that's engaging what is stalking upon my exit, maintaining very serious surveillance, doing so by merely being present while the demon-possessed U.S. government is keeping you under surveillance via the people who are not ignorant in this supernatural environment. While you're being stalked by helicopters, while the entity is doing things like cartwheeling in planes in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock in the morning, while they're on the roads and the highways, heavy traffic. The people of the state never go to sleep. There's never an hour where they're not on the roads and the highways on Euclid Avenue because they're up engaging in surveillance against one who is prosecuting all of them. And they've already lost. There was never a competition. You need to know that they are demons and they are engaging in this criminal activity right here in Upland, California. This is the entity that's engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so in furtherance of murder. No small thing. This is speaking directly to those who will not be remaining in office. It's speaking directly to what it is that I'm documenting on the inside of this Upland Public Library. What's walking on the inside at 10 o'clock in the morning when you're seeing all the mommies and daddies with all the babies? You're looking at demons. And that's exactly what Satan's role is to appear cute and adorable and compassionate. And it's creepy, and it's perverted, it's psychotic, and it's criminal, it's corrupt, it's un-American, and it is anti-American. This is what's walking into the library at 10 o'clock in the morning. Inside of the same venue is the entity keeping a fake sun over me in the middle of the afternoon, 1:50 p.m. Okay, you can see on my watermarks here the time. I'm at the same Upland Public Library right now. This is a stalker. Okay, and this is a psychopath who's sitting there making noise with every move that I make, every operation on my device. This is criminal, and it's also mentally ill behavior. And a population of demons are engaging in surveillance, which is proven by science, and it will be used to put the employees at this venue in prison. Employees that are sitting in relevant position in the office, checking out laptops and books and rooms for the study rooms while they're engaging in the P.O.C. and the evidence of that malice is relevant, is evident. Okay, this is the entity. What she's actually doing is monitoring, and she represents the entity. And then the entity is hostile. You're angry at me because I'm calling you what you are: demons, stalkers, sex offenders. They sit in the bathroom maintaining surveillance, doing the same thing concerning your genitalia. As they're doing it to me, I'm reporting it to you. They are monitoring what's between your legs. You are a sex offender by definition. And you're doing it on behalf of sex offenders that are stalking in helicopters under what is a very clear supernatural environment, a fake sun that remains over where I'm at, wherever I am at in the building. This is the city of Upland. Okay, all of a sudden having an inclination to dust what has not been dusted in years while I'm using my devices, okay, monitoring me. It's activity creation. The entities engaging in this while they are, in fact, engaging in a pattern of conduct. 1 second, let me turn the brightness back up. My battery's going. This is the P.O.C. So this is the entity that's maintaining that. I just want you to see. This is an illusion, and I'm capturing it for you to see. This is 2:22 p.m. at the same Upland Public Library. This is where I'm at right now. Okay, so all the mommies and daddies, and they're all demons. And I went through and I documented a plethora of license plates. They're terrorists. And they derive pleasure out of things like stalking me by helicopter while the U.S. government flies over and engages in that. And they're talking to their little babies while they're stalking with impossible light. And they go in singing the ABC song as amplified audible activity while they're keeping a fake sun under me. Taking shifts regarding criminal surveillance in a library where literacy is the last concern. It's actually vagina. Okay, it's actually federal stalking under Title 18. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:39 a.m. where the Upland City Hall is engaged in criminal activity. And this is exposing public corruption. They're not only corrupt, they're sharing in what is facilitating corruption amongst the people of the state, the constituents of the state. That is speaking to what is defunding. You're not engaging in what is the legitimate operations of a city hall, of a city library, of a city fire department, of a city police department. You will not have it anymore. It's as simple as that, because it will not be used in order to murder American citizens, steal from them, keep them under surveillance, and psychologically torture them, which is what the city of Upland, the state of California, is doing. It is currently 9:40 a.m., and this is speaking to the maintenance of a fake sun, which I've shown upon my exit. And every time the entity is sounding sirens, they are monitoring me. It is very targeted. And they're doing so with regard to what you need to know and put in proper perspective: the U.S. military. That is leading in terrorism in the U.S. It is treason, and that's exactly how they're going to be prosecuted. This is P.O.C. All right? These are enemies. And they have no choice but to be enemies right in your face. This is gang stalking right in front of your face. And these are the homosexual elders that are associated with the U.S. military, where they walk around in their veterans hats and they're engaged in un-American conduct. P.O.C. It is currently 9:40 a.m. Alrighty, it is 10:07, and that is criminal summoning, and the entity that monitors the evidence thinks that the evidence is going to stop being collected when they sit in the area where I sit, but the entity doesn't keep a fake sun over them. I'm the focus. I'm the one that they're worshiping, and I'm also the reason they're engaging in what is the mentally ill conduct of stalking with sirens and in emergency vehicles. They are going to be committed. Those are the officials, the stalkers that are using police vehicles and ambulances and fire trucks. Imagine, but you don't have to imagine because this is evidence of stalkers that are using, in other words, positions that they need to for the protection of the public being removed from. There is no environment other than one that is going to put the mentally ill in mental institutions and in federal prison for treason. That would include the fake sun being right here over me at 10:07 a.m. and like I documented in the same library yesterday after 5 p.m. where it's shining through this window. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that, and when they engage, this is a method of targeting. So you have the smelly homeless people that go and sit where I'm sitting, where I showed you in the screen recording. The fake sun is over this window, and the entity keeps the fake sun over me. It's not going to stay over them because they are engaged in targeting. They are not the target. They are engaged in targeting. It's a method of harassment while the same criminal summoning is underway. This is Brianna. Brianna is subject to prison. She is literally under what is the direct evidence of it also. In the same way, while you're in your home and I never met you, talk to you, and I'm prosecuting you while I'm outside, subject to the pattern of conduct, you don't have a defense. And that's how easy it is for Brianna to wind up in prison. But Brianna's done much more than gang stalking me under a fake sun that's telling on her. She's been doing so systematically as an employee at the venue. It's 10:08 a.m. and the fake sun is remaining for hours where they're engaging in surveillance in the bathroom in the same way that they're targeting by sitting in a position in the location where I'm typically sitting. And that's because of the screen recording that I captured this morning. But the entity is stalking under a fake sun that moves as I move. That's why it's not over in Ontario at the Ovid Family Community Library. That's why it's not over the Stater Brothers parking lot at the inside of the Ontario Village Shopping Center. That is why it is not at the San Bernardino Transitional Assistance Department, where in a natural environment, the environment is that which is going to be reliable and consistent. This is a fake sun that's moving as I move, and even that is evidence that's going to put them in prison where they belong. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 10:09 a.m. That's criminal summoning. All right, these are demons that are, again, stalking a woman altogether, and these want to be viewed as strong, courageous men that aren't stalkers and that they're not demons and they're not vagina monitors. They're the exact opposite of that. These are demons that are all engaged in what is, I have the evidence, you're stalking, I capture the evidence of it, you're an idiot that stalks me and reasonably anticipating that I'm going to document it and put it on the internet. And then you have all of the demons that waste gas money, engage in what is the resources that are criminal expenditure of resources, driving in circles, sounding sirens over and over again, pacing in and out of the library, doing so even with their newborn kids under the guise of teaching them the alphabet, sitting inside of a library all day long where they're engaging in what is surveillance. They're obsessing and maintaining presence all around me in order to stifle internet accessibility because of the evidence that you provided to me while you're stalking. And I'm documenting you stalking while you're trying to then interfere with my constitutional right to access the internet. This is how pathetic the entity is. The entity is engaging with, this is Upland Public Library, that's federal stalking on the venue of the internet where surveillance is underway. And this is also demonic. The entity that's engaged in surveillance, this is demonic activity. The demonic behavior in the demonic environment is a direct correlation. It's directly impacting your access to the internet, the performance of that internet access, the operation of your devices. This is why they are pacing, and the fake sun is over the roof of the library while it's here until the end of the day, like I'm documenting, after 5 p.m. yesterday. While you're listening to psychopathic behavior, COLLIN SHEEHY is a matter of what is diagnosis by prosecution. The entity repeatedly engaging in criminal summoning is based on his mentally ill criminal pattern of conduct of monitoring that which is already established with regard to what the federal government knows exactly who COLLIN SHEEHY is and what he's doing. They're witnessing me prosecute, and they're witnessing me expose the demon-possessed Satan himself, the U.S. government that are serving in Satan's satanic purposes while they are essentially just engaging in an ongoing campaign. When you are at the point to where it's already proven that you're engaging in the unfathomable allegation and all you're doing is trying to slow down a 35-second upload into 2 hours, it's going on the internet, period, and you're still going to prison. You're still being committed. These are the demons that are engaging in that wealth of evidence, doing cartwheels and stalking in helicopters and stalking with light and stalking in bathrooms. And it's all on the internet, and it has always been on the internet. That's where this investigation is necessarily present for the world to witness and be very clear about what's going on in the United States, which is exposing what's going on in the world. The entity, what I'm speaking to, that is inherently inferior, are relegated to pacing around me, that is worshiping me, engaging in exposing their mental illness, their obsession with me, their demon possession, their criminal monitoring system, while it is still going on the internet to expose them. And you're seeing how they're engaging in what is an ongoing admission of targeting. But this is what the entity is doing. Sounding sirens, and the sirens sound like the vehicle is inside of the library. That's impossible audible activity. The people of the state are sharing in that demonic activity while you're hearing inside of the library acceleration of the vehicles outside. This is while the fake sun remains over the roof of this library, where everyone is sitting inside staring at something as close to me as possible. Okay, that's psychopathic. Okay, so if there's a book on the floor, they will stand next to me, stalking me and staring at the book. Oh, I'm not stalking you. I'm looking at the book. This book is fascinating. It's the most amazing book I've ever seen. They're monitoring. They're a bunch of vagina monitors, and they're mentally ill. Okay, that's what gang stalking is. It is 11:07 a.m. This is documentation of criminal summoning, and this is indeed mentally ill behavior by the city of Upland, which is the entity that is gang stalking, and it's speaking to the mental illness shared by those that are employed at the venue, shared by those that are patrons at the venue, shared by those that are stalking in the airspace over the venue, those that are surrounding the venue, the population inside of the facilitating venue that is the city of Upland. They're the demon possessed. They're severely mentally ill. They're engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct. And they have already lost because I'm putting it on the internet, and all you're doing is trying to slow down because it's going on the internet. And I'm also going to prosecute you for federal stalking on the internet. But I'm going to document because this is what I'm doing. This is P.O.C. The fake sun is shining on me while I'm sitting inside of the Upland Public Library. The entity is at the same time at 11 o'clock in the morning keeping the fake sun over me at the 1627 San Bernardino County Transitional Assistance Department. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the same window where it's shining on me now after 5 p.m. All right, these are indeed the inferior, inherently inferior. You never lose. This is the message. You never win, serving Satan. Satan will show you to be the maniacal psychopath that you are upon his spirit possessing you. Okay, serving his purposes, which he is not your friend. And he has no loyalty to you. And this is how you have a demonic entity that's being exposed as such. It is currently 11:09 a.m. This is criminal summoning upon what is monitoring on my device. Stalking by standing at the copier adjacent to this cubicle. Stalking by sitting in all the surrounding cubicles. Stalking by working at the venue. Stalking in the most pathetic manners. These are not humans. These are the demon possessed. And you need to be aware of that. Alrighty. By the way, this is Satan's race. Okay. Contrary to what you are indoctrinated with regard to the distraction, the tactic of the devil to separate us amongst the color of our skin. Satan has a race, and his race is all of those that are subservient to his purposes, those that are demon possessed, those that belong to him, and they engage in the pattern of conduct, stalking, which is occurring while they are monitoring you with noise, monitoring you with engineered light, and monitoring you by being in your presence, in your path. They're also engaging in that via communication devices. So like Fabiola is doing with San Bernardino County while she's on the phone, she's engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, and she is intentionally and knowingly doing so. This is an entity that's engaging in the P.O.C., and that is the only race that actually exists, Satan's race. And it is distinct from the black race, the white race, the Asian race. Those are man's carnal means of identifying, creating a hierarchy, which are used to separate us. Identification, but essentially used to separate us in manners that are lesser than what is actually common amongst us, those that know Christ, those that are walking in the light. And those that are walking in darkness, and that is Satan's race, and they are all colors of the rainbow. Okay, all colors of the rainbow. This is P.O.C. It's 11:11 a.m. Alrighty, it is currently 11:44 a.m. So the entity that is engaging in what is stalking by helicopter is the entity that's then engaging in harassment while you document them by license plate, which is the same entity that's engaging in perverted and psychotic tactics of stalking, surveillance, literally in a bathroom. And serial stalker, the aged Caucasian female, very mentally challenged, engages in stalking specifically in the bathroom. This is her specialty, and she's been engaged in harassment specifically at Upland, California, Upland Public Library for years. In fact, when I stopped going to Upland, where they're engaging in harassing me, and I resumed going to Ontario, then this serial stalker started going to the Ontario Ovitt Family Community Library, where she would go into the bathroom to engage in ongoing surveillance. And as I've documented before, when you are referring to the entity that acts via, for example, let's say I document a corporate entity such as UPS, you will have, while I'm at McDonald's, UPS will engage in what is targeting me. Stalking by UPS commercial planes, stalking by the demons that operate their vehicles that'll go into McDonald's under the fake sun, molest me with impossible light, engage in what is monitoring on communication devices. If I document Starbucks, you'll have one. These are territorial demons when you're understanding the demonic activity, but you're also going to prosecute the corporate entity that's engaged in federal stalking with the U.S. military. And you are also analyzing the stalker that's acting via commercial actors that are keeping the evidence under surveillance. And they then engage in what is gang stalking you conspicuously. So this is also why I say what the entity is doing. It's directly tethered to you always paying attention. What did I document? What did I specify? What did I publish with regard to how the entity is engaging in the specific iteration of the P.O.C. So these are, this is demonic activity. These are territorial demons, if you will. The demons that are typically stalking at the Starbucks, the demons that are typically stalking at the library, the demons that are typically stalking via companies that are stalking with planes, and they're demons that are operating their commercial vehicles like Amazon, FedEx, UPS. The entities engaging in that conduct. And so this is a serial stalker who was subject to federal prison. I'm capturing her gang stalking at the Veterans Monument, which is literally just the Upland Civic Center, this area that I've documented this morning outside of it's right in the center between the Upland Public Library and the Upland City Hall. And this is a psychopath. She's always wearing sunglasses, covering up her face, a hat, and the same gray jacket, I believe. She's engaging in what is prolonged presence in the bathroom and not coming out of the bathroom stalls, and is identifying me with regard to some sort of familiarity with me while not even coming out of the bathroom stall. This is the entity that's doing that under the fake sun. This is the entity that is acting via the people of the state who engage in stalking me, including at other venues. That's literally stalking, okay? And it's not a matter of being free to go to whatever library you want. This is the U.S. government's pattern of conduct under the fake sun, which is showing that you are stalking as you are at the Upland Public Library under the fake sun, with the U.S. military stalking me by planes and helicopters, and you are stalking on behalf of that entity at the Ovitt Family Community Library under the fake sun while the entity is stalking by planes and helicopters. This serial stalker is in a bathroom stall exhibiting severe mental instability, which the U.S. is going to be prosecuted for every syllable coming out of terrorists' mouths while they are in a bathroom engaging in activity creation, monitoring my genitalia. She's beating on the walls as I am in the bathroom stall, which is activity creation. And she also has unfounded hostility with regard to her being in the bathroom in the first place, her inciting what is any sort of encounter while you are, this is again, the mentally ill, you are stalking me. And everyone also knows that that's not within anybody's imagination. They're not imagining what they're looking at on the internet. They're not imagining what is the pattern of conduct. They all know. And so then you're analyzing what's coming out of their mouth, how they're behaving, their ongoing demeanor, their actions that they're taking, which is all state action, all of it. It's the government that she's going to prison. She's been engaged in surveillance. This is some homeless woman that spends a lot of her time engaging in stalking in the bathroom. She does so on behalf of Upland Public Library. As I'm at Ovitt Library and I refer to Upland Public Library, the next day this sex offender will be at the Ovitt Family Community Library. She goes to the Ovitt Family Community Library. I documented her under the fake sun at the side of the Ovitt Family Community Library. That's very specific. You are not just going to the Ontario Library. You are gang stalking. You're here about me, just like you're in the bathroom and it's about me. And this is, I just want to document the entity engaging what is harassment. She's beating on the bathroom walls. And this is also a psychopath who would like to contend that I am somehow concerned about her. Well, I'm concerned with her. That I am this, she's got to be pushing 60, 70 with nowhere, no income, literally in the bathroom as though somebody is paying her to do it. But she under no circumstances looks like anybody that has any source of income. She walks around like the bag lady with various plastic Walmart bags that are the same color as her jacket. And she spends hours in the bathroom doing so on behalf of the state. This is the entity that's engaging in that. And I've documented her as a serial stalker in the bathroom at Ovid Family Community Library and what is that up in Public Library. And this is the entity that shares in that. This is the entity that is going to be not only criminally prosecuted, not only diagnosed via prosecution, but also humiliated based upon the shared mental illness, why they share a pattern of conduct and all of the pathetic, albeit highly criminal and malicious and deranged methods of surveillance, speaking to unfathomable levels of obsession and delusion. The entity is doing this because they are demon possessed. Alrighty, so this is a hostile vagina monitor that is already on the record regarding federal prison. So I just want to document the entity that is speaking and harassing in a bathroom as though I wouldn't even be here if you were not keeping my vagina under surveillance. I'm literally capturing the fake sun in the same position it is at 5 in the evening, and you're saying anything to me. The employees are already going to prison. This is Adam Tuckerman that's harassing me in the bathroom. This is literally how this evidence works because it's a pattern of conduct. All right, so these are, by the way, the consequences of gang stalking. All right, so the gang is getting the gang in trouble. All righty, this is P.O.C. It is currently 11:50 a.m. at the Upland Public Library, and this is documentation, in other words, as for bathroom monitoring.
Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is the U.S. military. This is what they were doing when I was on San Antonio, flying over the top of my head, and they're mentally ill, so that is diagnosed through my documentation, the prosecution. The more that I document, the more that they engage in it. So as I'm capturing images of UPS gang stalking, so are the people of the state. That's a demon-possessed person. Satan is staring right at me, and that's a person that's possessed with the spirit of Satan, and everything about what he's doing and where he's at is showing that he's engaging in the pattern of conduct. The entity is engaging in the P.O.C. stalking me at the facilitative unit. This is Harvard. Oh, excuse me, this is Princeton and Euclid Avenue. And the entity is maintaining plane activity. That's speaking to the whole neighborhood that's monitoring. And this is where the entity has the fake sun. So this is a mentally ill person that is demon possessed, studying their device, stalking in the path, keeping their back to you, Amazon Prime in the distance, monitoring in concert. This is ongoing veiled hostility. The veiled hostility is going to be relevant for damages and psychological torture. The ongoing co-conspirators of murder that think that they can engage in threatening you and nobody else is going to recognize it. All right, the entity is engaging in what is flying over the top of my head, and this is CHAFE. Joint Union. This is the school district, the high school. That's a gang stalker. This is the same street where I documented, just giving you context, and I'm going to show you what I captured already. This is giving you context where the demon-possessed teenagers are monitoring me 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I juxtapose that with the fake sun over me at 7 o'clock in the morning when I'm on this same street at this same intersection, this location right here, where the demon-possessed parents are monitoring with their demon-possessed teenagers, where the entity is going to a corrupt, demon-infected high school, where the purpose is not even learning. They're maintaining an ongoing illusion regarding society at large, while all that is underway is surveillance, okay? The entity is engaging in this conduct. This is the mentally ill, the demon-possessed that are the U.S. military, that make up the Upland Police Department as well, the City of Upland, the Ontario Police Department, the City of Ontario, the entity, the people of the state, the City of Ontario, okay, the City of Upland. The demons that are engaging is stalking me with noise and stalking me with light, sitting all around me, stalking all around me, going into bathroom stalls, engaging in surveillance, and then they're hostile because I'm documenting and exposing them. They're psychopathic, okay? But the entity is maintaining this conduct, okay? While they are stalking me, and I'm gonna go back to what the entity is doing, where there's no airport in Upland, California. This is the fake sun, while I'm on Euclid Avenue, where the fake sun was over me at the Upland Public Library today. And this is the evidence of that. While the people of the state vagina monitors are keeping their back to me while they're stalking in the path, doing so upon anticipating psychotic vagina monitors. While they're engaging in that criminal activity, as I walk out, you are in perfect alignment with where I'm located, stalking in the path. These are all demons. Under what is the fake sun? The fake sun that's at the same Upland City Hall, the same Upland Public Library that it was this morning, where they're inside of the Upland City Hall. They're all monitoring. How does any city hall engage in the criminal pattern of conduct? By holding a meeting, okay? By having the city council meeting, by welcoming them to maintain any sort of celebration, public corruption. That's how they're doing it under the fake sun that's at the same Upland City Hall today, the Upland Public Library that's over me. This is where the entity had the fake sun as I walk out today. And demons that are monitoring, keeping their back, psychopaths. who know that they're being documented, who are going to federal prison. She's a serial stalker, and she's very unstable. As unstable as the demons that are stalking me, flying over the top of my head and stalking me with commercial planes. Southwest Airlines, UPS, none of the airlines have any flights that are hovering in the city of Upland. There's no airport in the city of Upland. This is the entity that's engaging in that conduct while the fake sun travels south down the same street that it traveled while I'm at the Upland Public Library walking from Ontario. Okay, and this is what I'm capturing. This is Southwest Airlines stalking in concert with the people of the state, including the kidnapper, American Medical Response, engaging in criminal surveillance, conspiring murder with the U.S. military, because that's who's stalking in these commercial airline planes, the U.S. military. And that is Southwest Airlines conspiring murder with the U.S. military. That's UPS, American Medical Response conspiring with the U.S. military. Gang stalking. Amazon Prime conspiring with the U.S. military. The people of the state conspiring with the U.S. military. Gang stalking on the roads and the highways. While the entity's maintaining plane activity, hovering, while I'm walking down the street and the fake sun is over me, and there is no reconciling this conduct that I'm documenting as I'm exposing the city of Upland. This is the entity that's engaged in this conduct. This is UPS that's gang stalking me in Upland, California. And this is the entity that is, I'm at the 10 freeway and they're stalking in the path, doing the cartwheels in alignment with my person on the sidewalk in Upland at 7th Street. Where you're looking at all this amber light, that's not sunlight, this is monitoring. Okay, and you're breaking down the crime scene. It's very obvious. They're all gang stalking the people of the state. They're a bunch of stalkers. Okay, so are their children. 9 Victor Nancy George 650 is conspiring murder while gang stalking me with the government. Gang stalking on the roads and the highways. Gang stalking is occurring because the government has conspired your murder, and that's what's flying over the top of my head while I'm at Princeton. And as I take picture after picture, then the demons are flying over the top of my head, just like I'm documenting when I'm walking on San Antonio. And what do? I capture the address of where I'm at, because it's speaking to an entity, everybody on Princeton Street, everybody in the city of Ontario. Okay, where the entity engaged in what is giving me evidence of the what is not the natural environment, because the sun made a whole about face and remained over me in a whole other city, meaning it cannot be more than one sun that would remain over Ontario. This is where the idiots are being federally prosecuted and being diagnosed via prosecution. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is currently 7:52 a.m. at the intersection of Princeton and Euclid, where a population is stalking me. Okay, that's the P.O.C.
EB96Z05 at what is, I don't see a house number, but 518. This is Sultana, and Sultana, where the entity is flying over by the U.S. military, conspiring. He's a demon. Joking while they're stalking in the path with light. This is P.O.C. This entire neighborhood is gang stalking while the entity is maintaining light, monitoring as a neighborhood, ED58L60. These are co-conspirators of murder with the U.S. military that's flying over their homes with planes, gang stalking. This is the entity that starts laughing and hugging when they're being prosecuted and documented as terrorists. They're psychopaths. This is P.O.C. It is 518. This is at the intersection of Sultana and B Street. That's the third party. That's a co-conspirator of murder. I'm going to put this on the internet because I'm going to prosecute him for conspiring murder. That's terrorism while they're stalking with the entity that flew over my head by plane right here on this street. All right, and they're all monitoring together. This is P.O.C. This is Sultana, and in between what is, I'll get the other side cross street over here as well. But I see 518. 518 is the house number. They're sitting in their vehicle stalking. This is P.O.C. All right, and they start. There you go. I want that license plate. This is the entity. They're sitting in their cars in the dark while you see them hugging, and they're monitoring. 8BEZ649 co-conspiring murder with the U.S. military. P.O.C. Alrighty, gang stalking on the street. So I'm going to document the whole household. They were already sitting in the dark stalking. That's a stalker. P.O.C. 40741 Sam 2. Monitoring. These are all stalkers. These are terrorists. And this is the entity that's going to be documented engaging in terrorism. Pleasant and Sultana. Or is it Sierra? Sierra and Sultana, in between Pleasant and Sultana. All right, this is P.O.C. 9PXZ654. Molestation, sexual assault, and battery. And the U.S. military that only convicts the people of the state as a matter of evidence is stalking by flying over the street while they're stalking with light. P.O.C. All right, this is the cross street. Sierra and there you go. This is P.O.C. while they're stalking with light. All right. They're going to be subject to mental examinations. They're going to be committed while they're stalking with light. They're also being federally prosecuted as the people of the state, gang stalking and furtherance of murder. This is P.O.C. This is where the U.S. military is flying over their neighborhoods, flying over their homes, gang stalking. These are demons. It's currently 9:19 p.m. All right, everybody.
This is gang stalking, and so is AutoZone. This is called stalking in the path. While the U.S. military, as I cross the street, this is where they're stalking in the path. This is a co-conspirator murder with the U.S. military. AutoZone is gang stalking. Wendy's is gang stalking. They're inside of the restaurants. They're already monitoring. In the same way that the U.S. military and the people of the state are stalking, they are already monitoring me right now, and they're engaging in that pattern of conduct also as corporate entities. This is P.O.C. All right, and this is what they're doing at Sultana and Sierra, in between Pleasant and Sierra on Sultana. This is the pattern of conduct. He's stalking. This is Wendy's that's stalking as well. I'm going to prosecute the companies. I'm prosecuting Shell. They're stalking in the path. They're psychos. They stalk in the path while the entity is engaging the P.O.C. at going into the drive-thru, pacing around the building, maintaining light activity, while the U.S. military, like you just saw, is stalking with companies, stalking with the people who are being federally prosecuted. This is P.O.C. This is demonic. This is what they do, aiming light on me while I'm walking outside, while they're driving under the fake sun. And they're doing so with Wendy's, a corporate entity that I'm going to prosecute for. And you just engage in what is threatening my life while the U.S. military flies over me. I'm going to prosecute you for it. CC93, Apple 44. P.O.C. Engaging in surveillance in a parking lot in the middle of the night. Psychotic. These are demons. And this is Wendy's. Every time I come here, I'm documenting the same exact P.O.C. in the engineered environment. And this is a corporate entity that's going to be prosecuted for that unlawful threat. All right? They're threatening. They're engaging in stalking as an establishment, facilitating it. P.O.C. Alrighty, that's light activity. So the environment where he's sitting in, they're sitting in their vehicles, you're prosecuting, this is the people of the state. This is the U.S. military that's being prosecuted for treason. The U.S. military is engaging in terrorism with the demon-possessed people of the state. This is how they engage in what is conspiring your murder, and this is psychopathic behavior. They will be subject to martial law. This is while they're keeping your genitalia under surveillance. And this is occurring in the specific environment. That's the significance of stalking with light. You are stalking in the path in this environment. Those are demons. And they know exactly what I'm saying right now. They know who I am. That's proven through the environment. That's also proven through their behavior in that abnormal environment. And it's also proven while the government is following me around in planes and helicopters. This is a prosecution. It's a problem for Wendy's. I'm going to prosecute them. Alrighty, this is Wendy's that is gang stalking with customers in the store. Yeah, customers in, locking them inside, which would be false imprisonment when you want to get out. This is the entity that's not letting me into the store. They close. I just want to get their restaurant hours at 10. This is what their dining room hours say, 10 p.m. And they are engaged in the pattern of conduct. This is what the demons do when they're very scared about what I document. But I'm going to prosecute because it's still criminal activity and it's not my problem. It's more targeting because you're engaging in criminal conduct that you don't want to answer for. You're still answering for it. But the entity is closing before hours. They also open at different hours. Since I have this on, they open at different hours contrary to other Wendy's that open for breakfast. The one in Ontario that is gang stalking does so at a later time, which is opening at 10 a.m. This is relevant to the inability to come to a venue like this where they know that I'm documenting. But I do want to point this out right now. This is the P.O.C. and there's nobody here that's accessible while they have customers inside, but nobody's accessible. This is the entity that's targeting me in the parking lot though. Okay, so they are monitoring. Hello, this is P.O.C. It is currently 9:26 p.m. This is stalking to the venue. All right, and then locking out before the dining room area closes. So the restaurant's not closed, and the dining area is not closed, and they even kept them in. So while they lock me out, they're still monitoring. All right, that's the P.O.C. It is currently 9:27 p.m.
Alrighty, I do
know this is an entity that's engaged in what is targeting, and this is based on my documenting. So she is monitoring as an employee, first of all, and they have locked, that's blocking entrance when the restaurant itself closes at 10, and so does the drive-thru. They're still serving through the drive-thru and not serving through the restaurant. And before I start taking pictures, somebody goes into the drive-thru to monitor, and that's when they come from hiding. Okay, they were engaging what is removing. Nobody's walking by, so nobody sees me knocking on the door to ask why is it closed and inaccessible at 9:25 at night when it says dining hours and drive-thru closes at 10. If the drive-thru closes at 10, why isn't that inaccessible also with regard to the dining hours? But I'm just getting to the entity that's monitoring. The U.S. military is flying over this restaurant, stalking me with the while I'm in the bathroom, engaging in what is gang stalking with the people of the state that are in the parking lot, engaging in surveillance. And the entity is engaged in monitoring. You see her stalking in the path while they had every intention, knew that I was coming in order to monitor while they were locking the inaccessible, making inaccessible. But I do want to be clear, this is false advertisement, and this Wendy's in particular is operating at peculiar hours, not based on what is represented to the public, and also not providing what general Wendy's restaurants provide to the general public as well. This Ontario Wendy's is engaged in federal group stalking monitoring, and it is relevant that I am documenting that as well while they are engaging in this. And this is also relevant to targeting. But this is P.O.C. It's currently 9:32 p.m. and the people of the state that are in the drive-thru window are subject to the same access to service that I should be accessing. It's not 10 o'clock yet. It wasn't even 9:30. But they are monitoring, though. They're definitely monitoring. As clearly as you hear the train activity, which you can hear over here, this is the entity that's monitoring, and that is an employee that's engaging in that. And by the way, she's doing it with minor children. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:32 p.m. She doesn't even come to the door and make it clear why the restaurant is inaccessible. Okay, so this is more than bad customer service. This is targeting. All right, this is P.O.C. though. Do you work here? Do you work here?
No.
Do you know why the door was closed or locked?
I don't.
Is it closed?
I'm not sure.
Well, she works here, right?
Yeah.
Because she sat there and watched me outside. Why wouldn't she come to the door and let me in?
Well, she needs to open the door for you.
I know, but why was I waiting for so long?
I don't know.
Okay, that's your wife or something?
No, just.
Oh, because I saw you guys. I'm assuming that because you guys were sitting together. Is the restaurant closed, ma'am? Hi, is the restaurant closed? Is it closed? So you close before 10 o'clock?
No. Did you need something?
Well, people come to get something to eat, and I wasn't able to access it, but I saw you still. Well, the issue is now that you sat and watched me sitting outside. Where does it say that?
It's a public. It's a private property.
It's not private property. No, it's not.
Wendy's is not on Wendy's.
Well, this is a matter of what I'm going to publish on the internet regarding being targeted. Why was I in here standing right there and you can't let me in the store? Why would you? Oh, please call the cops while you're monitoring. While I'm not breaking the law.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Take the order right now?
Can I ask you a question?
I already answered your question.
What was the answer?
What's that time?
So why was the door locked?
Did you want me to take the order right now?
You're being seriously rude.
I'm not being.
You
I'm
are.
asking you
Why would you?
want me
I didn't know that you
want-
worked here.
Did you want me to take your order?
I'll get to that after you answer my
I already
question.
answered
No,
your
you
question,
didn't.
ma'am.
Why was it locked then? If it's not closed?
Can I take your order?
Yes. Why was it
Okay,
locked though?
I already
I will
answered
get to
your
that.
question.
I will. You did not answer that.
Okay. Did you want me to take your order or you can leave? I'm trying
Okay,
to.
what's your name?
Lupe.
Lupe, are you the manager?
Yeah, I am the manager.
You're the manager here. Okay. And so also Nicholas, he works here. Does he typically lock the door when it's before 10 o'clock? Oh, okay. But he's under you, right? You're the manager?
Yeah.
Okay, so all I'm asking you is why would you sit there and look at me outside if it's still open?
I can't see outside.
Oh, you didn't see me?
No, I can't see outside.
You-
You're wearing all black.
Okay. Okay. That's an answer though, but you didn't answer that before.
Can I take your order?
You guys close at 10, right? I just want to
Can I take your
confirm. It is 10 though, right?
It's 9:35.
Is when you guys close in here, is it 10 o'clock though? Okay, that was a yes. She's nodding yes. No, that's fine. I just wanted to confirm that. Thank you. Have a good night. This is Wendy's engaging in harassment, and he's threatening to call the police after no violation of the law. That's P.O.C. for gang stalking. The entity's engaged in that, and this is while they're targeting outside. Lupe, I'm going to prosecute her. That's the pattern of conduct. This is the entity that is locking the doors, and she is seeing me. They're molesting with impossible light, flying over with aircraft, the U.S. military, and unlocking the door, having him come to the door while they're monitoring with this little kid. And he's engaging in what is called the cops, the demons that are gang stalking with him. That's federal prison. I just want you to be clear on that. Let's get all these license plates again. That's the entity that's engaged in that. This is my shadow over here. And Lupe's monitoring me, talking about she can't see me. She's monitoring me. She knows exactly who I am, while the U.S. military and the demons are stalking in the parking lot, and the entity is stalking right over the parking lot. These are the demons that engage in these tactics. I'm going to prosecute. I'm going to take to the cleaners Wendy's. It's another gang stalking establishment. 7 Frank Bob Uncle 077. License 6 Mary Queen Xavier 427, and you're becoming indignant because you don't want to answer questions, that which I'm entitled to. You did not answer my question. If the restaurant is open, then why is the door locked? And while they locked the door, which you know the door is locked, business hours, customary business practices is to never lock the door during business hours. You're sitting there in front of the chair, the irrelevant position, stalking in the path. You know that I'm coming. In the pattern of conduct is underway, which I documented even before tonight. And while you're uttering what is mentioning Ontario police, that's federal prison. And they do that because you are forced to answer my question about why you are targeting me by locking me out of the restaurant before it's even closed. Okay, well, over 30 minutes before it's closed. And Lupe is getting an attitude because I'm asking and demanding an answer to that question, common sense question, while you're still serving in the drive-thru to gang stalk me. And you're not letting me in, the one that you're targeting. That's P.O.C. All right. That's the entity that's engaged in that. And they're doing so with the people of the state that are under the age of majority, while referring to the Ontario Police Department, who are going to be disbanded for gang stalking with the people of the state. But that's the entity that engages in that. All right, stalking with the U.S. military that's flying over me. Stalking, this is Ontario Town Square Townhomes. The entire community is stalking with license 9 Frank Edward Kelly 881. I just want you to see where they're stopping in between here. Nothing blocking their access. They're just stalking in the path with light while they're monitoring me and monitoring what Wendy's is doing in concert with them. Wendy's knows exactly who I am. And that demon, Lupe, is engaging in what is harassing me while I'm documenting en route to Wendy's. Wendy's that's gang stalking just like the people of the state, just like the idiots, these homosexuals who keep giving me evidence against the people of the state. I'm going to prosecute every restaurant. I'm going to prosecute every business. And I'm prosecuting every function of the city of Ontario, the Ontario Fire Department, the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario International Airport, the Ontario Demons of American Medical Response. This is P.O.C. They just flew over my head, and that demon's stalking in the path with light. P.O.C. That's Ontario Town Square Townhomes. There's no planes taking off over here. And that's the Ontario City Hall over there. So they're typically flying over the city senior center, flying over the library. And why are they flying over here? The same reason why I have double shadows in the middle of the street in front of the gang stalkers of the Ontario Fire Department. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct. And so was Lupe. I'm going to prosecute Wendy's. P.O.C. This is in front of Ontario Fire Department. This is what the entity was doing from Upland, California. There are no airport takeoffs or landings from Upland, California, either flying west over 8th Street. All right. There's no parking spot in the middle of the parking lot either. The reason why you're blocking the ingress and egress is because you're stalking. And the Ontario Police Department are who you refer to when you're going to federal prison. Every license plate that I just documented in the Wendy's parking lot, that's federal prison. All right. And they're engaging in harassment because they're hostile as one entity while I'm documenting the gang stalkers that are likely going to be subject to immigration deportation off of Sultana and Sierra right here. They were monitoring the entire path where the U.S. military is stalking in that parking lot. And Lupe's she's a psycho. Talk about you didn't know, you couldn't see me. OK, that's the P.O.C. That is the malice of the people of the state. License 8 Apple Bob Apple 419. This is understanding the tactics of the entity, and they're not wise tactics. They're not intelligent. They're merely, you see how Lupe just lied out of her mouth? She didn't see me. Environment, you're engaging in surveillance. So she knew I was there before. And that's why the U.S. was flying over Wendy's, stalking me in the parking lot outside of Wendy's. Okay, you're going to prison. That's supposed to be a threat, like I'm supposed to stop documenting. There's no such thing as private property in the engineered environment. That's all malice. You're going to federal prison. This is what they do in furtherance of murdering people. It's not just bad customer service. And you're locking me out because I'm enforcing my rights. And you sat there like a clown, like you didn't see me, very rude and disrespectful. And the reward for that is very severe because it's not just bad customer service, it's prison. It's federal prison. Because you uttered the name of the demons that are stalking every day in helicopter. Every single day. That's the entity that's engaging in that, referring to the Ontario police as an intimidation tactic. You cannot intimidate the federal prosecutor. You're going to federal prison for that. All right, that's P.O.C. And they were doing it with the minor child, which is relevant to the way those vagina monitors are going to be federally prosecuted as I document this iteration of the exact same P.O.C. This is the Ontario Town Square townhomes where the entity's flying over by planes. And that's distinct from being on this side where the Ontario City Hall is, where the U.S. military flies right over Paul Leon in the Ontario City Hall, at the Ovid Family Community Library, the Ontario Senior Center. All right? That's why they're flying over, because they are indeed stalking. And Lupe is a psychopath, and you looked at her lie to my face and on camera. She's going to be federally prosecuted. That's P.O.C. I just want you to see this and then you're going to recall the stalking that UPS and Southwest Airlines are engaging in. While the entity is caught engaging in stalking, they find it prudent. They think it's a good idea to do it again because this is supposed to suggest, oh, everybody's doing that. At all the entrances of the apartment complex, they're all engaging in that conduct. This is Ontario Town Square townhomes that's already prosecuted for federal group stalking and monitoring, including with the Ontario Police Department under the fake sun at all hours of the day. And that's why the entire community is being federally prosecuted, just like the whole rest of the city of this demon's license plate, while they engage in what is evidence of monitoring, replicating the same pattern of conduct, targeting while the U.S. military repeats that. This is the P.O.C. And while you're engaging in that pattern of conduct, you're engaging in what is providing evidence against themselves. This is the foolish conduct of the demon possessed. All right, this is the suicidal people. This is Ontario Town Square townhomes where there are no flights from the airport hovering over E Bluebird Privado, over East B Street, over East Holt Avenue. This is where the entity is maintaining, that's the perimeter over here, that's Holt Boulevard. This is the entity maintaining that light activity license 9T, while my shadow's over here and my shadow's over here. All right, and here's another shadow right here. License 9TUJ739. And this is a vagina monitor that just sits in, engaging in surveillance and waiting for another opportunity to do the same thing. All right, that's P.O.C. The entire apartment complex, they're full of gang stalkers, which I've already shown about the city of Ontario. And the entities engaging in this while they're targeting, that's literally stalking by a government body. And the stalking is underway with the entire city. That's why Southwest Airlines and UPS, that you'll see in the images, are stalking in Upland, California, where there are also no airports taking off here. This is what they're doing over the senior citizen complex, okay? This of criminal monitoring. These are the homosexuals that are engaging stalking with the U.S. military. The U.S. military literally engaging in what is posing as Uber drivers, stalking me while they're engaging in that P.O.C. This is what they were doing at the county office. That homosexual with the Marine Corps sticker on his vehicle, that was the same entity stalking, coming in person. That's the pattern of conduct the entire apartment complex is monitoring. The Ontario Fire Department, you already know that. They're demons stalking in fire trucks. They're going to be committed, and none of this is going to remain because it's all funding terrorism. So none of this is going to remain because it's speaking to what is providing paychecks for nothing other than criminals. Literally, you have a job as a fireman, you have a job as a city clerk, you have a job as being on the city council, you have a job in the office at the city hall while you're engaging in criminal surveillance, and that's going to end, okay? It is currently, while the entity is flying over, okay, doing so at what is 9:50 p.m., leaving from Wendy's, which is speaking to the fact that Lupe knows exactly where I was, and she heard me knocking on the glass door. Clearly, that's all evident because the glass door is also transparent, but you're dealing with psychopaths that engage in very obvious targeting conduct. And when they feel stupid about being captured, and I make all sort of salient points, these idiots repeat it again. This is the entity that lacks in intelligence. You're dealing with a suicidal, low intelligence grade of people that are demon possessed. Okay, they eat children's body parts. They have sex with children. They have sex in groups. They engage in homosexual acts with regard to thinking that they're garnering magical powers with regard to their satanic practices. It's a practice of witchcraft. Okay, and they're not engaging in that. I'm showing them to be baboons and fools and nothing other than stalkers. And this is the blatant evidence that's causing for the shutdown of the Ontario International Airport. Alan D. WAPNER, I'm going to prosecute this old man. This is the entity that's engaging in criminal conduct with the entity. Paul Leon's not remaining in office, and Mike LORENZ that's being referred to while the entity's talking about call the cops. They're not even police officers. They're stalkers. And that's why the people of the state is engaging in that, because they're stalkers. The entity engaging in the P.O.C. directly rebuts your unpersuasive suggestion that you don't know that I'm there, or you don't know me, or you don't know who I am. This is an entity that's entirely lacking in what is any sort of preparation for a prosecution based on facts and evidence. And this is because they are a lower people. They are an inferior entity. They're demons, and they're wildly corrupt. And typically, they're just killing people. And they engage in gang violence. But there is no gang of demons full of Lupes that could ever outmaneuver me intellectually or in any other way. I'm going to prosecute her. I'm going to prosecute Wendy's, and I'm going to prosecute what is this entity that's engaged in the pattern of conduct. That was psychopathic pacing over at what is 9:52 p.m. over Ontario Town Square townhomes where there is no published flights that are occurring while they're engaging in that. And the entity is literally, while you see that, sharing in the pattern of conduct, stalking in the ingress and egress, where you don't stop to make, in the ingress and egress. So you have the entity trying to normalize it. That's the ignorance of them. They engage in criminal conduct. That's like, the logic in that is, well, one person committed child rape, so I'm going to commit another child rape, even though the first person was caught. But the logic of the demons is, well, I'm going to commit another child rape, and that makes it normal. And then I'm going to have somebody else, we're all going to replicate that same conduct, and then it's not a crime because none of us are being prosecuted and we all did the same thing. That's the false logic behind what the demons do. And they are literally trained, they are deficient with regard to understanding that they are being prosecuted and that nobody is seeing the perspective that they're coming from, but I'm breaking down the ignorance for you. These are threats to the American public. The U.S. military are not the brightest. They are not the best. They're not intelligent whatsoever. They're very much engaged in barbaric behavior, illogical behavior, and highly unreasonable with regard to being thoroughly analyzed as I break down their ignorant conduct, which is criminal. You're looking through a glass door and you said that you cannot see me, okay? Whether I'm wearing black or what you can see outside. You can see my face. You can hear the knock on the door. They are demons who are monitoring my vagina. I just want to get to the entity that provides evidence to me. And that's all that demons can do, is serve my prosecutorial purposes. And this is literally the entity that is prosecuting Lupe. Understand how this entity is self-defeating. While you're gang stalking, it's prosecuting the demon that I just left with regard to the evidence of the U.S. military, stalking before I get to the door, stalking as I leave that venue, stalking while I'm in Upland, California. This is the entity that's engaged in that level of ignorant conduct. And this is an entity that's already defeated, okay? This is why they are scared of my evidence on the internet, by the way, trying to delete information in the description boxes so you can more easily identify where they're stalking me in helicopter, where I'm located with regard to you recognizing the pattern when you see the fake sun at the city hall at 7 a.m. and you see that same city hall based on the address that I give to you where you're not familiar with the city of Ontario, and you see that at that same address 9 hours later that fake sun is still over me. That's why they're fearful of that. They're fearful of what it is that I'm saying in my video evidence, but they're still stalking though. These are demons that know that they're going to prison. They know that they are engaging in what is acts that are self-defeating, like them contracting, a massive amount of them contracting HIV while they've engaged in failed sex rituals unto Satan, while Satan is laughing at them. All right, the entity's engaging what is gang stalking me, and I'm going to prosecute all of the co-defendants. I'm going to use your co-defendant against you. And that's all you do is give me evidence against each other. These are idiots. Okay, this is the entity that engaged in that, but that's the false logic. Well, I'm going to repeat the same incriminating conduct and then that's going to normalize it. No, that's not the standard. This is an entity that's accustomed to engaging in corrupt things. Oh, well, if everybody else does it, then that's establishing the norm. That is absurd. That is asinine. That is idiotic. All right, these are demons. They're not intellectual beings. They're not intelligent beings. They are spirits that are using their bodies, using them up like whores. And I'm going to treat them like the whores that they are in court. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:55 p.m. This is a sex offender at 11 o'clock at night, molesting Ovid Family Community Library, stalking and parking at the parking lot. They're pacing together. This is what Lupe is doing at Wendy's. I'm going to prosecute the sex offender Wendy's. I'm going to prosecute the people of the state. I'm going to prosecute for targeted harassment. This is P.O.C. These are stalkers. Lupe knows, like I stated, they are telling on each other. And I'm going to prosecute a sex offender and a stalker for engaging in that conduct and then lying to your face. No, I don't expect a criminal to admit it on video, but you're looking at the malicious psychopaths that they are while they're obsessed with my vagina and then lying, talking about you didn't see me outside. Okay? They're telling on themselves while they're stalking in the engineered environment. Okay, this is a psychopath that's lying in wait, waiting to engage in parking in the parking lot, monitoring me while I'm on the side of the library, speaking to what they're doing inside of the Ovid Family Community Library, the same venue where the entity's stalking by planes and helicopters on an ongoing regular basis, molesting with every move that I make. P.O.C. I'm going to get this license plate. These are the demons that are co-conspirators of murder. Saris Regis Group, Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, 320 North Euclid Avenue. Ovid Family Community Library. This is the City of Ontario, 215 E.C. Street. Wells Fargo, 240 North Euclid Avenue, the John Stewart Company Senior Citizen Apartments, the 280 North Lemon Avenue, Ontario Town Square. They're all monitoring together. P.O.C. This third party is an entity. You see my shadows on both sides? They're stalkers. License 9YMY609 is the entity, and I'm prosecuting all the businesses. I'm prosecuting the state of California. The same pattern of conduct, co-conspirator of murder. This is 11:12 p.m. P.O.C. Alrighty, this is evidence against Lupe, against Wendy's, at what is Hope Boulevard, while they're stalking the path, just like the people of the state, coming around the corner, crossing path, monitoring as a population of gang stalkers who are demons. The entity has more than one plane in the sky space. There's no airplanes taking off, and there's no airplanes floating in the sky space coming from the airport headed to a destination. This is surveillance, and this is stalking to 715 North Euclid Avenue, which I also have during the day while the fake sun is right here in the sky space. This is relevant to what is prosecuting and enforcing what is punishing Lupe for lying regarding, and that's Wendy's that is lying regarding targeted harassment while you're targeting me in furtherance of murder with the U.S. military that also flew over that venue. You know exactly who I am, but this is letting you know about the character of the demon possessed that are targeting you in furtherance of murder. This demon's engaged in what is stalking in the parking lot and goes right in to make a purchase. You're going to prosecute the businesses for that. It's a federal RICO case, and Pizza Hut's engaged in stalking like Wendy's is engaged in stalking, and that's the whole shopping center. You already know about the gym. The entity stalking my helicopter over my head. The entity gang stalking with minor children. These lawless demons that are under the age of majority who are also going to be subject to martial law while the entity's flying over G Street. Deviating. Remember, in Upland, California, way up Euclid Avenue in Upland, the entity is gang stalking me by commercial plane. The entity engaged in was referring to Ontario police. They're going to prison. All right, while they're engaged in the pattern of conduct, and then you're referring to the gang stalkers themselves that wear guns and badges like they're law enforcement officers, they're going to prison for what Wendy's just committed. This is P.O.C. It's the same pattern of conduct. Wendy's is going to prison. Lupe for engaging in targeted harassment, lying about it, and then engaging in what is referring to the Ontario Police Department, which is horrifying audible activity. Why would you ever refer to those vagina monitors? You're a fool. This is P.O.C. This is mental illness that Lupe suffers from. Lupe is the entity. That's why they're stalking in the engineered environment with light. While the entity is floating in the sky space with planes that don't belong over here. They're a bunch of demons that are gang stalking. Martial law is coming. P.O.C. Alrighty, now this is an indication about what they're doing at the Bethel Congregational Church when I'm there and the fake sun is here and they're smiling at me and saying good morning and God bless you. And the entity sounding sirens in the middle of the church service. And the entity, the U.S. military that is stalking me knowing exactly where I'm at because those are demons congregating inside of this building where the entity is stalking by planes where there are no takeoffs at 11:59 in the evening, where they're engaging in the same non-destination seeking cartwheels in alignment to me, exposing the people of the state, people like Lupe who are going to prison. Okay, be engaging in what is targeted harassment, and it's also targeted harassment while you're sitting in church. And the entity's engaged in criminal summoning. The entity's engaged in vagina monitoring, and then referencing the name of Jesus. There's no difference in the pattern of conduct. And there's not only is there no sun where the entity would keep it for the duration of the day, like my evidence shows here at Bethel Congregation, 536 North Euclid Avenue. These are demons that are pacing in the sky space. They're mentally ill, and they're sharing in the perpetual sex offense. All these license plates I just documented. I just documented all of them, and they're sharing in the criminal conspiracy to commit murder, and that's exactly how they're going to be prosecuted, including a homosexual identifying himself with, or their self, with the U.S. Marines. This license plate right here, it's on the record, it's on the Google Drive. They're engaging in what is gang stalking. The U.S. military are stalking in commercial airline planes. They're stalking in military aircrafts. They're stalking in Amazon Prime vehicles. In the grocery store, acting like they're vendors. They are the demons that are gang stalking with the state of California. They're going to prison. They're also going to be committed. Stalking in the planes and helicopters is exactly what's going to be used to have the mentally ill who are no longer going to be a part of the U.S. military after they're prosecuted for treason. They're going to be committed. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:01 a.m. at Bethel Congregational. P.O.C.